welcome, recently found in a senior chat room, Barbara Holt. Barbara!
Good evening. Many of you are in your 20s or 30s, or as I refer to you, grandchildren. And you've probably spent time in these online dating sites like Match.com or Desperate.com trying to see who you match with and maybe even started some relationships. I have my sources. But have you thought about how old people meet? No, you haven't, I can tell. At a church picnic, over an erotic round of bingo, parked at an intersection while the light turns red, green. Not anymore. We have now found online dating and combine that with the discovery of Viagra. You're in the middle of madness. But the rules are different for this generation. Words have different meanings. For example, I got a message from an 82-year-old man who was looking for a long-term relationship. I mean, either this guy is really optimistic or he's focusing on those if your erection lasts more than 4 hours. The word senior can be problematic. I always thought of it in context of senior citizen. But last spring I was in Miami during senior week and all I saw were high school students. I did get a I got laid during senior week t-shirt though. And if you think you've seen me in one of those Girls Gone Wild videos, okay, let's talk about it's not that funny. Let's talk about men of this age group, okay? They have an overabundance of self-esteem. They all describe themselves as very good looking. You open the door and, oh my God, it's a finalist in the Dick Cheney look-alike. And then they say they have athletic bodies. What sport? The only thing I can come up with are those body flop diving competitions. You try to displace as much water as possible. Older men also tend to be very cheap. Remember when you were a teenager and you go to the movie and your date would say, if they ask, you're 12, so you could get in cheaper? Now it's, if they ask, you're over 65. And this economic predisposition applies to dinner too. Okay, so I invite this guy over for dinner and he calls and says, I'll bring the food. Oh, cool, right? He shows up with a sack with 2 Big Macs and a Viagra and says, look, I brought a Happy Meal. Or you get invited to IHOP. But you have to go before 4 because that's when the prices change. I tell you, romance isn't dead, it just snoozed off. You sit there, a candlelight dinner, the light streaming in from the sun because it's afternoon. The sounds of Oprah from the TV in the kitchen, and you have the senior special, which consists of 2 soggy pancakes and a little bitty sausage. Now, I'll admit, it took a minute. I'll admit there are advantages. If you get a guy with dementia, he'll ask you out over and over. And you can change your name, your accent, your history. He'll never know it's you. He'll even tell you about you. Last week I had coffee with this Russian woman who was Stalin's love child. And you say, "Sacre bleu, avez-vous ce temps?" That's French. Now they even have websites devoted to this population. And they have really interesting names like Senior Friend Finder, which is probably very useful for Mr. Dementia. Or Dating for Seniors, which sort of sounds like dating for dummies, right? But the questions these websites ask are different. Like, would you describe yourself as shriveled or bloated? How many medications do you require to keep your heart beating? Can you hit the toilet? And have you ever been laid during senior week? Okay, I have to go now. It's past my bedtime.